Good afternoon, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for joining me. I just stopped by uh, to update you on Ethiopia, uh, especially this is a breaking news. The Ethiopian Parliament, lifted uh, an emergency rule. So it's very good, uh, very good news for especially for those who suffered under this emergency rule. Ethiopia was under challenge before even the declaration of a state of emergency. So this state of emergency created very ugly history in that country. What it did, so the Prosperity Party security forces, officials, their supporters did whatever they want to do under this emergency rule. So it's a good thing. Is a good thing. I thought it's already lifted, but now officially lifted. So it's a very good thing, especially for Tigrayans and Oromos, who suffer the most under this state of emergency. They have been suffering before, but they suffer the most under this state of emergency. What happened? In short, then I have uh, France 24 and also FANA Broadcasting uh, Corporation has a news on it. So before I go that, what this state of emergency did to the Tigrayans especially and also to the Oromos. So it allows the government, the security force, any prosperity party to detain any Tigrayans from any location, including the capital city, take them anywhere they want, put them in a mass detention center. Some of them kept in illegal prison cells. So the other thing is they were removed from federal jobs, federal employment, and they are taken out of private businesses, their properties confiscated just because of they are Tigrayans and because they are Oromos. So the properties confiscated, taken out of employment from federal, military, civilians, including the media, plus also taken out of even from servicing the churches. So they are taken from these all services and sent to remote areas and detained, especially Awash Arba is a common place. Uh, that's the other atrocities happen against them. And also seniors, children, women, men, all, like 70 years plus, and the youngest, all suffered under this emergency rule. And the other thing is they all also asked to pay ransom money for the police and these federal authorities before, releasing them. So they paid heavy ransom. All these are unnecessary. Then the other thing is they also denied family and their lawyers visit. They denied. The lawyers and the families were not allowed to visit these detainees. So nobody knows what they eat, what they dress, how's their condition. So they are in a military detention center in a sense. So they are suffered a lot. Uh, you know, the suffering is countless. The suffering is countless, and these are the most common one. The most common one. Tigrayans taken out of their properties confiscated, Tigrayans and Oromos targeted just because of their, their ethnicity, not because of the crime they did. So this is the suffering caused under this state of emergency. So it's lifting this state of emergency. Maybe it's going to open up a door, and allow these people to be released. They didn't do any crime except because they are from Tigrayans or because from their Oromos. So this is a good thing, and it will. I hope it will end. It will end all kind of illegal atrocities carried out on these people. And I hope the Prosperity Party will learn from mistakes and allow law in order in Ethiopia. And I hope the upcoming dialogue will diminish the power of Prosperity Party so they cannot abuse Ethiopians. If doesn't do that one, this upcoming dialogue is meaningless, is useless, even to participate. That's why last time I reported about 53 uh, uh, political party councils, temporarily asked to halt the selection process of these commissioners and, have reservation about this upcoming dialogue. So the dialogue, I think it's better to call for transitional government in Ethiopia instead of talking for the sake of talking. It doesn't resolve anything. It doesn't end the prosperity control of the security forces and the army, all the financial sectors, so they can spend whatever they want to spend to abuse Ethiopians in that country. So after I say that, let's listen to France 24 about this emergency lifting. Then I will have one video, the parliament, the so-called parliament discussing uh, the lifting of this emergency rule. There we go.
Emergency had already been proposed by the cabinet actually a few weeks ago. It was now approved by the Ethiopian parliament. The government declared the state of emergency while Tigrayan forces were advancing in the Amhara region towards the capital Addis Ababa. They were stopped about 200 kilometers from the city, and the lifting of the state of emergency comes as Tigrayan forces have largely retreated to the Tigray region last December. As such, the state of emergency didn't have any major impacts, for example, on the movement of people across the country, but it did have huge impacts on Tigrayan populations, especially in the capital Addis Ababa. There have been massive arrests and searches without any warrants or any trials. So rights organizations are hoping, first of all, that the lifting of the state of emergency will decrease the human rights abuses across the country. As for the conflict, well, it's too early to say whether the conflict will or not be finished now. I mean, there's still fighting going on. For example, in the Afar region, this is another region neighboring the Tigray region, and there's still a severe humanitarian crisis going on in Tigray. Although there are no ground combats on the ground in Tigray at the moment, there have been airstrikes observed by the Ethiopian Air Force over the past weeks and months. So we'll have to see whether mediation efforts by the African Union, by the United States, are starting to bear results, or whether fighting will continue in the weeks to come.
Maria, what is the situation like for the Tigrayans now in their day-to-day lives?
Well, as I said, during the state of emergency, there had been thousands of arrests, mainly in the capital, Addis Ababa. A lot of Tigrayans were taken without being given any reason. Their families didn't know where they were. They were taken to detention centers. Some have been released. For some, we still don't know where they are, and there's still a lot of fear among the Tigrayan population, at least in Addis Ababa. And then there's also, of course, the Tigray region, where things are still unfolding behind closed doors. Humanitarian aid is only trickling in now recently via the airspace, but there are still no trucks going into Tigray. No journalists are allowed into Tigray. All we know is that there is severe malnutrition in Tigray, particularly for children, and that we don't know how the situation will evolve for the population there in the coming weeks.
All right, Maria, thanks for that. Maria Garrett-Nicolescu reporting for us from Addis Ababa.
Okay, so that's France 24 on the lifting of the emergency. So one more video from Ethiopia, the same concept, but this one is it's not the same contest, just discussion of the parliaments, who are against it, who are for this lifting, and you will see with their video. So it's good to keep for history. And let's see. There we go. This is Ethiopian Parliament discussing the lifting of. It's in Amharic, but it's just some are for it, some are against it, and you know the reasoning for their opposition, the reasoning for their support. Okay, let's listen.
ህዝብ ተወካዮች ምክር ቤት በዛሬው አንደኛ አስቸኳይ ስብሰባው በሚኒስትሮች ምክር ቤት የቆይታ ጊዜው እንዲያጥር በተወሰነበት የአስቸኳይ ጊዜ አዋጅ ላይ ሰፊ ውይይት አድርጓል። የአዋጁ ተፈጻሚነት እንዲያጥር ሲወሰን አንጻራዊ መረጋጋትና አሁን ያለውን ሁኔታ በመደበኛው የህግ አግባብ መፍታት የሚቻልበት አቅም መፈጠሩ እንዲሁም የተሳለጠ ኢኮኖሚያዊ፣ ማህበራዊና ፖለቲካዊ እንቅስቃሴዎች እንዲኖሩ ታሳቢ አድርጎ ነው። መነሻ ምክንያቶች ተጠቅሰው በቀረበው የውሳኔ ሐሳብ ላይ ከምክር ቤት አባላቱ ሁለት አይነት ሐሳቦች በብዛት ተንሸራሽረዋል። አንደኛው የአዋጁ መነሳት አሳማኝ መነሻ ምክንያት ያለውና ተቀባይነት ያለው ቢሆንም መደበኛ የህግ ማስከበር ስራን ማጠናከር የሚጠይቅ ነበር።
አሁን መነሳቱ ላይ ተቃውሞ የለኝም። ምክንያቱም በመደበኛ ህጋችን ላይ ደህንነትንም ሊያመጣ ስለሚችል ህገ መንግስታዊ መብቶችንም ሊገድብ ስለሚችል ቢነሳ ተቃውሞ የለኝም። ነገር ግን ከዚህ በኋላ መንግስት በትኩረት ሊሰራቸው ይገባል ብዬ ማነሳው ሐሳብ ምንድነው? የህግ የበላይነት በአግባቡ መከበር አለበት።
ህዝባችን ኑሮ ውድነትም ስላለ እንዲሁም ደግሞ የጸጥታ ሁኔታም በዚህ ብዙ ሰዎችም የታሰሩም ስላሉ ይሄ አስቸኳይ ጊዜ አዋጅ ለመነሳት መቅረብ እንደኔ በኩል ተገቢ ነው ብዬ አምናለሁ። ችግሮቹ ሰፋ ብሎ የሚታዩባቸው
So these are arguments for lifting
ያደርጋል
of the
ሽብርተኝነትን ለመከላከልና ለመቆጣጠር የወጣውን የህግ ማዕቀፍም ይጠቀማል። የመከላከያ ሰራዊቱና የፌደራል መንግስቱ በህግ መሰረት አስፈላጊውን ጣልቃ ገብቶ እነዚህ አካባቢዎች ያለውን የጸጥታና የሰላም ስጋቶችን ለመቅረፍ ይሰራል። ከዚህ አኳያ የቀረቡ ሐሳቦች በመንግስት ደረጃ በመጀመሪያም የሚታወቁና የተገመገሙ በዛው መልኩ የታዩ ናቸው። ማጠናከሪያ ሐሳቦችን በዚሁ መልኩ መንግስት ይቀበላል ለማለት ነው።
በሌላ በኩል ደግሞ አገሪቱ አሁን ያለችበት ሁኔታ የአዋጁን መጠናከር እንጂ መነሳትን የሚጠይቅ አይደለም በሚል ገፊ ምክንያቶችን የያዙ ጥያቄዎችም ቀርበው ማብራሪያ ተሰጥቶባቸዋል።
አሁንም ከ300,000 ከ400,000 በላይ
Okay, this is in opposition.
ሰራዊት አደራጅቶ አፋር ቅድም እንደተገለጸው 4-5 ወረዳዎችን ተቆጣጥሯል።
So he's talking about TDF controlling 4-5 districts in Afar region. So he is against the lifting of the emergency rule.
አሁንም ለጦርነት እየተዘጋጀ የጦርነት ነጋሪት እየጎሰመ ባለበት ሁኔታ ይሄ ነገር አልተቀየረም። መንግስት በመደበኛ ሁኔታ ህግ በማስከበር ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ እየተፈጠሩ ያሉ ማንነት ተኮር ጥቃቶችን መከላከል የሚችልበት ቁመና ላይ ነው ወይ አሁን ያለው?
እዚህም እዛ አሁንም ችግር አለ ነው።
It's also against it.
አስቸኳይ ጊዜ አዋጁን ለማንሳት ምን የሚያጣድፍ ነገር አለ?
Yeah. Why we are rushing to lift the emergency rule?
እንዳው መንግስት በሁለተኛው ምዕራፍ ለአንዴና ለመጨረሻ ጊዜ እነዚህን የኢትዮጵያ ታሪካዊ ደመኛ ጠላቶች ጸረ ህዝቦች ለመደምሰስ ዝግጅት አድርጎ ወደ እርምጃ የሚገባበትን ሁኔታ
So he's advocating to continue the fight until TDF is eliminated from that country. TDF or Tigray Defense Force.
ሁላችንም የተከበርነው የምክር ቤት አባላት እዚህ ቤት የአስቸኳይ ጊዜ አዋጁን ስናጸድቅ የነበረው ሁኔታ አሁን የለም ማለት ነው።
This is an explanation for the question. Things are better now. We can handle it with a normal law and order. So it's good to lift the emergency rule.
ስጋት የጸጥታ ስጋት በወሳኝ መልኩ ተቀይሯል ወይም ጉልህ በሆነ ሁኔታ ተቀይሯል። ይሄ ሁኔታ ዛሬ ላይ የለም። ይሄ ሁኔታ ተቀይሯል። ይሄ ሁኔታ ስለተቀየረ እንደ ሀገር በአስቸኳይ አዋጅ ውስጥ ሆነን መቆየታችን አሁን ከጥቅሙ ይልቅ ጉዳቱ ያመዘናል የሚል ግምገማ ነው በመንግስት በኩል የተወሰደው።
በኦሮሚያ ክልል ሸኔ እያደረሰ ያለውን ጥፋትና ጉዳት ምክንያት በማድረግ አዋጁን በማንሳትና ባለማንሳት መሃል ያለው ጥቅምና ጉዳት በሚዛን እንዲቀመጥ የሚል መከራከሪያ ሀሳብም ተነስቷል።
ከ396-98 በላይ የገጠር ከተሞች እና የገጠር መንደሮች በኦነግ ሸኔ ተይዘዋል። በአሸባሪ ሰው እየታፈነ ገንዘብ እየተከፈለ ነው ሰው እየወጣ ያለው። ኦነግ ሸኔ ዛሬ ግብር እየሰበሰበ ነው። ስለዚህ አሸባሪዎች ግብር መሰብሰብ በቻሉበት ቦታ ላይ
So he's against lifting the state of emergency. He is saying that OLA, Oromo Liberation Army, is controlling about 396 towns and villages, even collecting taxes and collecting ransom. So he's against it.
ለህግና ለህዝቤ ነው ተገዥነቴ። የአስቸኳይ ጊዜ አዋጅ ተመጣጣኝነትና አስፈላጊነት ሲታይ እንደ ሀገር በወቅቱ አስቸኳይ ጊዜ አዋጁን ያወጅን በነበርንበት ጊዜ የነበረው ሁኔታ በጉልህ ደረጃ ስለቀነሰ እንደ ሀገር በአስቸኳይ ጊዜ አዋጅ ውስጥ መቆየታችን ከጥቅሙ ይልቅ
So he's explaining why we need to lift the emergency rule. Things are better. Nothing is threatening now. The Prosperity Party.
በኋላ በነበረው የድምጽ አሰጣጥ አስቸኳይ ጊዜ አዋጁ እንዲነሳ የሚለው የውሳኔ ሐሳብ 63 ተቃውሞና 21 ታቅቦ ገጥሞት በአብላጫ ድምጽ ጸድቋል። ይህን ተከትሎም የአስቸኳይ ጊዜ አዋጁ መርማሪ ቦርድ ከአዋጁ አፈጻጸም ጋር ተያይዞ ያላጠናቀቃቸው ስራዎች ካሉ ከዛሬ ጀምሮ በአንድ ወር ጊዜ ውስጥ እንዲያጠናቅቅና ሪፖርት እንዲያደርግ እንዲሁም የፍትህ አካላት ከአዋጁ አፈጻጸም ጋር በተያያዘ የጀመሯቸው ጉዳዮች በመደበኛው የፍትህ አሰጣጥ ስርዓት እንዲያጠናቅቁ ተወስኗል።
Okay, so that is the breaking news coming out of Ethiopia. So as I said, it is encouraging news, very good news to end illegal detention, atrocities, especially against Oromos and against the Tigrayans. So this, it was widely reported by international media and some local media. Tigrayans and Oromos, especially the Tigrayans, suffer under this state of emergency. So it's a good thing to lift it. The Prosperity Party don't want to talk about the strengths of OLA. But this parliament member exposed the prime minister and the core Prosperity Party by talking about OLA, Oromo Liberation Army, controlling about 396 local towns, villages, other rural areas. So this is a big news. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to, show the strengths of OLA to international media, to local media. You remember the letter sent to SAT television not to talk about OLA operations, OLA holding, and So this is a big news. Yes, OLA is very strong in Oromia region. I reported yesterday, OLA even blocking the main road from Kenya to Ethiopia, even collecting taxes. So that's the situation, and they cannot hide it. It's official now. It's OLA is even around Finfinne or Addis Ababa. They are around that area. So the Prosperity Party, for the sake of themselves, they should delist the OLA, Oromo Liberation Army, and the TDF from terrorist watch list or terrorist list, from the blacklist the parliament declared. They have to. I don't know why they ignore it. They're supposed to discuss that one and lift it if they want to bring a healing to that country. They ignore it. They want to talk to only with other Prosperity Party supporters and create a stable country. I don't think that's gonna work. They should come back and declassified and lift then the terrorist blacklisting of OLA and Tigray Defense Forces. In that way, everybody will take part if there is a solution. Other than that, if you want to keep Prosperity Party in power with all the resources, Ethiopia will not be a peaceful country. There is no solution for Ethiopians. So that's all I'm going to say for now. That is the breaking news from coming out of Ethiopia. I'm happy to report it from Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you for joining me. I will be back again with other news updates very soon, hopefully. So long and be safe.